2018, question number 5, boy. So using the purchasing power parity, purchasing power, mimi nakwambia mimi ni mjanjeshi. Na mambo ya exam, nitakuja hapa kwanza nimwandikie purchasing, hata kama sielewi. Purchasing power parity theorem. Namwandikia also known as inflation rate parity theorem. Right? Nakuja hapa straight away na mwandikia formula ya forward exchange rate. It's used to give us forward exchange rate. I've seen your question, DJ Mercy, DJ somebody. So forward equals spot into 1 plus inflation country C over 1 plus inflation country B. Remember, there is another parity which makes use of what here? Interest rates. Purchasing power makes use of what here? Inflation. Purchasing power makes use of what here? Inflation. Purchasing power makes use of inflation. The moment I write like this, these are the low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits. Nimeharvest moja. So nikisha harvest moja, mark moja, hata kama uelewi sana, hata unaweza kuja kwanza muandikie. Mwambie hapa F. Kumbuka jaribu kujaza page. Lazima tuitishe more papers. Tumeshalipia ushuru. Na itisha more papers, kasi nebu nafunga namna hii. Namwambia F stands for forward exchange rate. Forward exchange rate. This stands for forward exchange rate. Unakuja namwandikia S. This stands for spot exchange rate. Remember spot exchange rate is today's prevailing rate. So this is today's rate. Spot rate is today's rate. Elias ameuliza swali na mimi mwenyewe sijajiuliza. Amesema hapa. Mbona hapa hakuna country A? Mbona hakuna country A? Honestly, I've never thought of that. I found these formulas kwa kitabu fulani, hata mimi nikachukua hivyo. But maybe in future I should talk over inflation company A, inflation company B. Great. Yeah. Very good. Mwanafunzi anauliza which country itakaliwa sasa? Ewe niambieni vile nakaa hapo, ni country gani itakaliwa? Ni country gani base? Ni country ile inakaliwa ile ndio denominator. Ni country gani nakaliwa hapo ukiona? Ni country gani? Ni South African rand, isn't it? Ni South African rand. ZAR. Inafaa ikuwe SAR. South African rand. Because wamekuandikia vizuri hapa. Wamekuandikia ni Kenya shilling over ZAR. So straight away, I'm able to know that this is country C, Kenya. Country C is this country called Kenya, the most beautiful country in the world. And then we have, of course, this is country B, which is South Africa. Pata potea. Tusome sasa swali. Mwingine amesema, if for example you are doing this AFM paper from Rongo University and you happen to do this kind of an introduction, you'll get all the marks. I think this person is not being fair to people from Rongo. The people from Rongo that I know of, they are very bright. Those are among the people that normally ensure that our pass marks even go up. Don't joke with Luo's one. Don't joke with Luo's one. Very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, previous question working, okay? That we shall do. That we shall do, but on WhatsApp now later. But for now, let's concentrate with this question, Robert. We will give you all the questions. I'll even give you a video of this. For now, let's concentrate, put all our minds in this. So, wanasema, a large manufacturing firm based in Kenya, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, we've said this C is Kenya. So then this should be the inflation rate of Kenya, and the B should be the inflation rate of South Africa. South Africa, like that. South Africa, like that. Je, kwa mfano ungeenda upata swali kama hii, wacha nivute hii, ungeenda upata exchange rate, wamekupatia exchange rate kama hii, woye abracadabra, upate wamekupatia Canadian dollar per US dollar. Ni country gani ungeweka denominator? Ni country gani ungeweka denominator? Ile ambayo imekaliwa. Denominator ile imekaliwa. Iko mwingine aliniambia amekaliwa, mwanaume amekaliwa na bibi. Right? US dollar. Yes, US dollar. So USA ndio imekaliwa, ndio inaenda chini. Inakuwa country boy. Thank you very much. Wina amesummarize hapo. Thank you very much. Hiyo meiva kuiva. Sasa tusome pole woye abracadabra. Wanasema a large manufacturing firm based in Kenya is tendering for an order in South Africa. The tender conditions state that the payment will be made in South African rands in 24 months' time from now. The company is unsure of what price to tender. The company's marginal cost of production at the time of tendering is estimated to be Kenya shillings 2 million, and a markup of 20% is applicable for the company. Sasa hapa, mi naona some free mark there. Kwamba, ladies and gentlemen, we have the cost of production. So cost of production, these are the low-hanging fruits. Cost of production is 2 million. So in this case, you come and add the profit markup. Are you able to see the profit markup? What percentage, ladies and gentlemen? Right? What percentage? 20%. So this 20%, uzuri markup normally works together with cost. So 20% of 2 million. So 20% of 2 million gives me how much, somebody? 20% of 2 million gives me 400,000. 400,000, which gives me 2.4 million, like that. So once I get this beautiful figure of 2.4 million, which name do we give it? Which name do we give to this 2.4 million? Which name do we give to this 2.4 million? Which name do we give to this 2.4 million? Which name do we give to this 2.4 million? Somebody told me some time back, nameless. Yes, it is selling price, it is revenue, it is sales, whichever. But if I'm the one, I would have called this revenue. And remember, this is revenue in the form of what here, somebody? In the form of Kenya shillings. Revenue or sales receipt. I like that, Cyrus. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is quite a technical question that I'm doing here. But honestly, for me to have gotten this sales revenue of 2.4 million, I mean, I did not require anybody's magic hand to get this. This is a free mark, a low-hanging fruit that I need to harvest. And remember, in advanced financial management, getting even a single mark like this can make you see places that you have never seen before. Don't joke. Places that you have never seen before. Like where? Like which places? What? None. Thank you very much. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, from there, I can see they have given me the spotlight. These guys are crazy guys. These are very serious examiner. This is an examiner who deserves an award. An examiner who deserves an award. An examiner who deserves an award. Amekuja hapa akanipatia spot rate. Akasema spot rate is 8.025 to 8.125 Kenya shillings, Kenya shillings, Kenya shillings per South African rand. So, of course, whenever they give me this spot rate in form of a range, I'm not going to apply the two spot rates are the same. I'll only apply one rate. So in this case here, I need to shake my hand a little bit and get to really say which one is the buying rate and which one is the selling rate. I need to shake my hand. So seriously, in an exam, you should never fear anybody. Whenever they give you spot rate in form of there is some time back here, and this was my student. This was quite embarrassing. I was doing invigilation. So the spot rate had been given like one figure, like this, 10. And then as I was moving around, I saw somebody in this case here shaking their hand. Straight away, I knew this student does not know what he or she is really doing. We only get to shake a hand whenever these rates are given in the form of lower and upper limit, a range. You don't just shake the hand anyhowly. No, people will wonder. Right? So, for us to be able to know where we are shaking this hand towards, we must know the residence. This company is a company based in which country? It's based in Kenya. So our home currency is a Kenya shilling, and our Kenya shilling is on the left side. So if the Kenya shilling, when I'm shaking my hand, like if the Kenya shilling is on the left-hand side, then the left figure becomes buy. So this is buying, and this is what here somebody selling, buy, sell, like that, buy, sell, buy, sell. Now I'm picking this thing very easily. I'm going to pick only one spot rate. So between the two spot rates, which spot rate do you think am I going to work here with? Between these two, which spot rate shall I work with? For sure, from what I'm seeing there, all of us are very confused with this. All of us are very confused with this. All of us are confused with this. And there is no problem with confusion. Actually, I like such confusion because even if I'm the one, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, you're doing this kind of a question, and then I get to an exam, and then I realize that between the two, I can't really place my hands very well on the correct one. What I'll do, instead of leaving this thing blank, I will do this, telling the examiner what if. I'll tell my examiner that if the spot is 8.025, then in capital letters, F will be, use 8.025 times whatever. And then I come and say, if the spot rate is 8.125, then the forward rate will be like that. So I'll be having two forward what? Two forward. So everything I'll be doing, ikiwa mpaka mwisho, two forward rates. And remember, CASNEB exams, we are taught, examiners, we are taught something very nice, that we have to be very fair with students. But the CASNEB, I know, is the only examining body which is fairest globally. You can never get any examining bodies and gentlemen, right, which is as fair as CASNEB, which in this case here fights for their students here to pass, which in this case, ladies and gentlemen, right, will always sit down and say, let's have this particular number passing. It's only CASNEB. For those of you who have never tried any examinations out there, like the exam that I was doing just yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, cannot know what I'm talking about, right? Look at, for example, a body like CFA America, CFA US. CFA US, you'll see, for example, was it in 2016 or which year, where nobody passed in East Africa CFA level 3. And they proudly put that on their website because nobody was able to get that 75%. Right? CFA start. So when you guys will get, in this case here, some exposure, do, ladies and gentlemen, some other examining bodies, like you can see somebody there is stuck with the CFA America, right? Giving up, right? Ladies and gentlemen, that is when you realize that CASNEB is your best friend. It is your best examination body, right? So long as in this case here, you are confident, like all these questions of foreign exchange, if you are not so sure, don't work with one. If you're not so sure of what you're doing, work with two everywhere. It's like a lady who is pregnant, 2 twins, or rather twins, 2 kids. So everything, unafanya na two like that. The bank will sell. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me very well. This question, the way I'm understanding it, unless I'm starting becoming, in this case, you're quite old. This company, which is in Kenya, the order has come up in South Africa and they want to tender. So this company, according to what you are understanding, is it going to supply goods to the South African customer, or it's buying goods from a South African, for example, supplier, according to how you are able to understand this question? Is it exporting or importing? Kenya is sending goods to South Africa. It's supplying. So if it's supplying, it's an export. If it's supplying, it's an export. They're supplying goods out of the country. It's an export. It is an export. Let's read this question again. It is an export. We are told a large manufacturing firm based in Kenya is tendering. Mnaandika zile tender forms. Is tendering for an order in South Africa. An order that has arisen in South Africa. So it is a supplying. It's an exportation business. And if the firm will export for sure, it shall receive South African rands. So the firm is exporting. The firm is exporting. The firm is exporting and therefore will receive South African rands. Will receive South African rands. So it is a receipts question. And if it's a receipts question, you'll have to come and remember this rule, that a foreign boyfriend always buys dinner, not unless you get a crooked one. Unless you get, there are also crooked foreign boyfriends, but generally a foreign boyfriend will always, in this case here, buy. So for the new students here, foreign boyfriend should never scare you. Foreign boyfriend is an acronym of foreign receipts, borrow foreign. Foreign receipt, borrow foreign. So we're expecting later on, don't be cheated by the 2.whatever million Kenya shillings. At the end of the day, we are exporting goods to South Africa. We shall be receiving South African rands. So it's a foreign receipt. It's a foreign receipt. And for foreign receipts, as we shall be seeing later on, for foreign receipt, the bank, foreign receipt, you borrow foreign. But most importantly for now is that the bank will buy. So mention there that the bank will buy the South African rands from the Kenyan farm. The bank will buy the South African rands from the Kenyan farm. The bank will buy the South African rands from the Kenyan farm. At what rate? 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 Buying rate is given 8.025. At what rate? At 8.025. At 8.025. So the bank will buy the South African rands from the Kenyan firm at 8. So the S is 8.025 Kenya shillings per South African rand. So I would want you guys to do me a favor. Now I've given you everything. This is inflation of Kenya. 1 plus inflation of South Africa. So the inflation rates have been given there. The inflation rates have been given there. So anything to do with the interest rates, you ignore. Anything to do with interest rates, you ignore. Anything to do with interest rates, you ignore. That is noise. They're basically putting that noise there to confuse the easily confusable students, of whom I do not have any in my class. I'm only going to make use of what here? Inflation rates. So I hope you guys are plugging in the figures here, because now we have everything. 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 Are you able to see annual inflation rates? So like Ellen, I don't know what Ellen has done. Hey, that figure is quite unique, Ellen. I don't know what you've done. Because you see, the thing that I want you guys to give me for now is the F. I don't want you to go to the whatever. Ellen, I can see what you've done. You've gone express, very far away. I only want you to give me the F. So the F, ladies and gentlemen, the F in this particular case, the F in this particular case will be, the F here will be equal to the spot. The spot is 8.025 times into brackets 1 plus. The inflation rate in Kenya is 8%. And I know where very many students will go wrong. Many students in this case will not remember to time prorate. Remember 8% is per annum. Remember I don't know whether you remember the concept of time prorata, time proration. Are you able to remember the time proration? Time proration, remember they spoke of 24 months, 2 years. 2 years. All over 1 plus inflation of country B. Inflation of country B, inflation of South Africa, which is 6%. Again, this 6% has to be time prorated. If you forget time proration, you'll get a wrong there. And when you get a wrong, ladies and gentlemen, you'll start saying, you know what, somebody has bewitched me. There is nothing kama urogi dunia. Hakuna mrogi. Mbona asijiroge akuwe tajiri? Niwe hujajua concept. So Jenny anasema ati ni 8 point something. Why is it by 12 months? Remember tele kawaida mayom. Mbona tunasema 3/12. 3/12 niweze kupata the years. Ndio sasa 8% is per annum, so for 2 years itakuwa 16%. Umeona wanafunzi wanapata figures tofauti. Sababu wanafunzi hawaangalii body mass, kama ningelikuwa wewe, what I would have done, ladies and gentlemen, would have been something very easy here. What I would have done, ladies and gentlemen, ngekuja niseme forward is 8.025 times open bracket. Hii ni sawa na 16%. Hii itakuwa 1.16 like that. Hii ni sawa na 12%. Hii itakuwa 1.12 like that. Body mass. First of all, you multiply before you add 1. So then the final figure will be 8. Ule msichana alipata. Alipata kweli 8.312. Alipata kweli ule msichana Ellen, I think alipata. I think ule Ellen alipata. Ile siku tutakuwa tunapatana kule Kajiado, Ellen lazima nimbaie zawadi. Alipata. Ellen ukumbuke unandai. Yes, 8.312. 8.312. Mnataka tufanye na 12 ama tufanye na 116? Mnataka tufanye na gani? Tufanye na gani? 116. So 116. You need your boss. 116, but we have to agree and to work out using one figure all of us. But now the thing that you guys are not telling me, are these cows? Are they cows? If they are cows, let's have them. Kenya shillings per South African rand. So please, now we know that the next thing will be for us to do what here to seek for an exchange. So go ahead and exchange. Go ahead and exchange. So when we are exchanging, we basically need the amount. What amount are we looking at? What amount are we looking at the moment? What amount are we looking at? What amount do we have in the question? The amount in the question. The amount in the question. Inakuja 2.4 million. The amount in the question is 2.4 million Kenya shillings. Kenya shillings namna hiyo. Alafu unajua kuna forward rate. So the forward rate is 8.3116 Kenya shillings per South African rand. Per South African rand. So in this case here, could you kindly go ahead and exchange? If I'm the one doing this, I'll do this in my mother tongue. I will do this in my mother tongue. My mother tongue is the very best in the world. My mother tongue is the very best in the world. Tunasema namna hii, mother tongue ni 8.3116 Kenya shillings equals 1 South African rand. How about 2.4 million Kenya shillings? How about 2.4 million Kenya shillings? Unaweka question mark. From there, una cross multiply. We cross multiply. What are we able to get? Okay, cross multiply. What are we able to get? Wanasema wini at 288,753. 288,753. The only thing we need has not done, she has not told me whether these are cows. If they are cows, then we are rich people. We are rich people. Like, you know, in Southern Sudan, when they talk of dowry, right? So like a man wants to marry a lady. If a lady is very tall, you pay so many cows. So you pay number of cows depending on the height of the lady. The height of the lady. Is that true, Mayom, or I'm cheating? Mayom, is that true, or I'm cheating? Sure, it is, yes. So if the lady is very tall, they even select cows, in this case here, with very big horns. So they're telling us, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, we have what we call the South African. You guys will kill me with your jokes now. Okay. Thank you very much. We shall overcome. That one, when we will be meeting in Kajiado, is what Bwana Mayomi will be in Kenya. He'll be able to advise us. If somebody is 5 feet 2 inches, what happens now? What happens if you're very short like Aura here? What happens? Do you go for free? He'll advise us. So I want you guys to do me a favor. The same question, could you kindly use interest rate parity? The same question, use interest rate parity to forecast the exchange rate, Remember, we have used purchasing power parity. We have used inflation rate. Now, this time around, I would want to see whether there is anybody who will be able to use the purchasing power parity concept. And I'm giving you how many minutes? 5 minutes. Very simple, ladies and gentlemen. The question here is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. We have a situation where this time around they want us to use interest rate parity. This is interest rate parity. So for this interest rate parity, you have to be a clever student for you to be able to understand it very well. You must be a very clever student. Remember, we agreed that this is a foreign receipt. It's a foreign receipt. And a foreign receipt, it means that we shall use foreign boyfriend concept. Foreign boyfriend concept. foreign boyfriend concept. So, and this foreign boyfriend concept, this means what here? For foreign receipt, borrow foreign. For foreign receipt, you borrow what here? You borrow foreign. You borrow foreign. For foreign receipt, you borrow foreign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have got two currencies here. We have the Kenya shilling, we have the South African rand. So remember, we are Kenyans. So between the two currencies here, which one is the foreign to be borrowed? So borrow foreign, ladies and gentlemen, borrow foreign. We shall borrow the foreign currency, which is South Africa. This is sweet. This one now informs two decisions. Remember, when we borrow, we are not borrowing this money to ende kula kama njugu. Kama mwingine aliniambia ati mwalimu kwa borrow 6 million and something on top, ati iko juu ni suckers. Ati kwa ukitaka mti isimame mzuri, lazima ukatakate suckers. Ati ndio mti, asasa suckers unakata unakula. Hapana, sisi ni werevu. Whatever we borrow, 100%, we must invest. We must invest. Whatever we borrow, we must always do what here? Invest. Ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well here. So here, I'm borrowing the South African. I'm borrowing in South Africa. Listen, I love this. So I'm borrowing in South Africa. So borrow in South Africa, borrow in South Africa, borrow in South Africa, and then you invest in which country? Utasikia mimi nakwambia to invest in Ethiopia. Ukimuuliza Ethiopia imetokea wapi sasa hapata yeye mwenyewe juu. Tuko na two countries. It is Kenya and South Africa. So ladies and gentlemen, if I borrow in South Africa, whatever I've borrowed here, I'll come and invest in which country? In Kenya. In Kenya. So thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, borrowing rate in South Africa. Now go to the interest. Are you able to see the interest rate? Are you able to see the interest rate? Are you able to see the interest rate? You can see borrowing rate. Borrowing rate. Nimeona mwanafunzi akimake argument pale hapa hapana. Hapa you can see borrowing rate in South Africa. Borrowing rate in South Africa is 12%. How about, ladies and gentlemen, investing rate in Kenya? Investing rate in Kenya. Most beautiful country. Investing rate in Kenya is 6%. Investing rate in Kenya is 6%. And then now what I will come and do, ladies and gentlemen, very fast here, I will come and say abracadabra. I will come and say abracadabra. I have my F here, which is S into 1 plus interest country C, all over 1 plus interest country B. And remember, you've already defined interest country C. You know country C is which country? C is which country? C is which country? C is which country? Kenya. In Kenya, in South Africa. Unakuja hapo unasema F equals, tuko na spot rate. Ulikuwa ushachagua spot rate. Haita change kwa sababu tumechange method. It is 8.025. Thank you very much. Into 1 plus the rate of interest in Kenya, already you have picked it. Already you have picked it. The rate of interest in Kenya is 6%. So this 6% must be time prorated. Again, here is another door that the devil normally knocks in and enters to ensure that my students fail. Very many students will always forget time proration. Very many students forget time proration. Times 24 over 12. 24 months over 12. All over 1 plus South Africa interest rate is 12%. So 12% times 24 over 12, which in this case, at the end of the day, will end up giving us what figure? Nana. You know, Nana acts some very good program called Zora. Nana. Right? Those are now the programs which are missing now that I'm in the studio. I'm not able to watch them. That is the opportunity cost. It's very bad. You guys should be calling me and, of course, updating me how those programs are moving. Yeah, you need to be giving me updates. You need to be giving me updates. So Cyrus Alassama is 7.2484. 7.2484. Is that true? 7.2484. Thank you very much. 7.2484. $7.2484 Kenya shillings per South African what? Rand. Per South African rand. Per South African rand. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow Mwalimu here now, straight away. Of course, I don't have to finish this question. I don't have to go to the exchanging. That you can do for me. I don't even want you to do it. I don't want you to do it. So what I would want to do right now, are quite simple things, very simple things. I love simple things. There's some theory questions that I would want to do, ladies and gentlemen. Just simple theory questions. Very simple theory questions. Umi anasema mwalimu, the question wanted tender price. Tender price, we had tender price in Kenya shillings of 2.4 million. And now we have given them the tender price in the form of South African rand. Umi, we have given them tender price in the form of what here? South African rand. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, whether I've been able to answer Umi. Tender price. I don't know whether I've been able to answer Umi. I can see two students who have put up their hands. Now, because most of us hamtakangi kujua kutumia Zoom sana, itapiga kelele sana, what I would recommend, ladies and gentlemen, is that those students should be able to type their questions. Please type your questions. Gertrude says 7.248 is a forward rate. Yes, that is a forward rate. Gertrude, I haven't got 10. Yeah, it is a forward rate, yes. Or is this answer wrong? This answer, we got it, of course, by plugging in the spot rate, interest rates. Is this answer correct or wrong? It's correct. They're saying it's correct. Sasa hii ndio shida. Wakati unatafuta swali ambayo inakuja kwa mtihani na haipatikani, alafu unaanza kusikia usingizi. Hiyo swali usipoifunza inakujanga kwa. Wako unashangaa sasa hata yeye mwenyewe. Sasa mbona hiyo siku kupata? Na hakuna. Wanafunzi wanauliza mwalimu, what about the foreign whatever? What about foreign whatever payment? That is very easy. Really, if you have got this 7.24 Kenya shillings equals 1 South African rand, how about the 2.4 million Kenya shillings? That one you can do. Very well. Very nice. I can see P Mwangi. Great. Winnie ameshasema hii lazima tupate. That is the attitude really. That is the attitude. You see, this is the thing. So we have here 7.2484 Kenya shilling equals 1 South African rand. How many Kenya shillings are we talking about? Were they 2.4 million? How about that? You cross multiply. I know the confusion. You know, here we are not using money markets at all. It's forward rate. For forward rate, what do you need? You simply need the exchange rate and the amount involved. The amount involved. Regardless of whatever you're given down there, I only went for foreign boyfriend. I only went for foreign boyfriend simply because I wanted to know which country are we borrowing in, which country are we investing in, not because of the money markets. Here, this question never asked us to tackle it using money markets. No. We fika hapo. Meraba anasema 331108. Jenny anauliza, for this question, should we use inflation parity or interest rate parity? Can somebody help me answer, Jenny? Which one do you think should we use? Which one do you think in this case here should we use? Should we use P. Mongi anasema as requested? What has the examiner told you to use? The examiner has told you to use purchasing power parity, which is the same as what here? Inflation. Inflation method. Purchasing power is the same as inflation. We only went for interest rate parity because I wanted to showcase that concept. Otherwise, the examiner never wanted you to use interest rate parity. But should you go to an exam and realize that you've gotten confused in between? You've gotten confused in between. Right? If we get confused, ladies and gentlemen, in between, of course, at the end of the day, what do we do? At the end of the day, we shall use the two methods and tell the examiner to pick whatever he feels is right. We do all and tell the examiner to pick whichever he thinks is right. And of course, CASNEB examiners have been trained. They'll always pick the one that is what here? They'll always pick the one that is correct. So there's still students who are insisting on some figures. I don't know why they are not getting these figures. How we got this 7.284. How you got this 7.284. So unfortunately, students are not very keen. Students are not very keen. Now we are losing time. Because students are not very keen. I'm not trying to gag them. But remember now, we are not really having much of time. You guys have to be very careful. Remember, F is S into 1 plus interest, in this case here of country C, over 1 plus interest of country boy. S, you guys gave me S a long time ago. You told me it's 8.025. Into 1 plus, interest rate ya Kenya ilikuwa ngapi? Hebu kumbusheni mwalimu. Interest rate ya Kenya ilikuwa ngapi? Kumbusheni mwalimu. Ilikuwa ni 6%. So 0.06. times 24 over 12, all over 1 plus. Interest rate ya South Africa ilikuwa ngapi? Interest rate ya South Africa ilikuwa ni 0.12 times 24 over 12. Aya, angalieni hapa jameni. Hapa kitu ya maana ni kwamba lazima uende polepole upate numerator. Na wanafunzi wengi atakwambia ni 1 plus 0.06 equals. Tasema at 1. Body mass tells us to multiply first. Body mass tells us to multiply first. So we have 0.06 times 24 over 12. Whatever we get, unasema plus 1. Whatever we get, unasema plus 1. What figure are we getting? Somebody there. Somebody is telling me it's 1.12. All over. This one here gives me 1.24. 1.24, which then at the end of the day will end up giving me what figure? I can see so many students putting up their hands. Please copy, put it down. Yep, hata ukifanya direct utapata tu, lakini wengi hawapati hivyo. Yes. So 5 messages. So they are getting now 7.24. 7.2484. Wanjiro anasema it's from the borrowing rates. Wanjiro, have you watched really these videos of money markets? Wanjiro, have you watched videos of money markets kweli? Have you watched videos of money markets, Wanjiro? because I think that is where the problem is. Have you watched videos on money markets? I think that is where the problem is. If you're having a problem with this question, yes, you haven't watched. That is where now the tricky bit is. So then what we need to do after this, we could side chat, and then we do what here? I give you the money markets video for you to get the entire concept. I'm so sure even my own, the way you are asking those great questions, siko baya hauja watch video ya money market. Hauja watch video. Yes, I'll be able to share. Ellen says they are in the group. You've watched and you're not able to understand this, then watch again. You've not understood that one of money market. Ningetaka sana ku-explain, lakini sababu ya time, tafadhali, please. Only that area of interest rate parity. The area of interest rate parity. So what have you not understood, Mayom? Perhaps I could move a little bit slower. Tell me what you've not understood under interest rate parity. Have you understood how we got this forward exchange rate? Now I got it. So long as you have understood how we got the forward exchange rate, that is it. That is it, forward exchange rate. The only people I know who have problems are these new students, perhaps in this case here, who have not watched those money market videos, and they also have not watched the 8 videos. There are 8 videos they're supposed to be watching. 8 videos they're supposed to be watching. Great. IRP has no money market. Good question, my own. You see, IRP, we are using IRP to get forward. Thank you. Money market. Do you normally use forward interest? Do you normally use forward exchange rate? Money market. Do you normally use forward exchange rate in money market? Do you normally use forward exchange rate in money market? Do you normally use forward exchange rate in money market? No. Money market, we always make use of what here? Spot exchange rate. Spot exchange rate. We always make use of the spot exchange rate. So there is no way IRP can ever work with money market. No way. But unless somebody is a wizard, but I know they can't think that way. They can't think that way, right? They can't think that way. Ladies and gentlemen, Sport na Meza, thank you very much for the questions that you guys have really asked. They are very good, very good. And now that makes me thinking of doing maybe one question ya money market kesho. We do one question ya money market kesho, right? Hiyo kwa leo imetosha we. Mimi niko na class kesho saa 10, and as usual lazima nilale my 5 hours. 5 hours. Tomorrow it's not 5. Tomorrow it is what time? Yes, so for tomorrow LM, ladies and gentlemen, it is 4 a.m. 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Theo nitafanya kesho, ikishafika saa hizi ya kuna. So coffee will be our snack. One question for money market, yes. So tomorrow we have LM at 4 a.m. We have AAA at 8:30. And then we have lunch hour, advanced financial reporting. Sijui kama sana nitaanza kutoka class ingine. Why did you stop teaching as AFM at 4 a.m.? Wewe, mwalimu atajidivide aje. I need to discuss maybe with my madam. Aanze kufunza some of these small papers. Yeah. So AAA, we get in this case here a link, and remember the way I teach AAA is very nice. Like now tomorrow when I come here, nikianza na AAA, remember AAA, where are we supposed to start this paper from? What tunaanza na, right? Internal controls. Internal controls, ladies and gentlemen, internal controls, objectives. Objectives of internal, ukianzia hapo you can never go wrong. Objectives of internal controls what tunasema ni a stop. As top, of course, if a firm has got strong internal controls, we should be able to get accurate financial statements. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, if we have got strong internal controls, then automatically the company's assets will be safeguarded. The financial statements or whatever statements we want from our systems should be able to come to us on timely basis. Our things in this case will always be done in an orderly way. Internal controls will prevent our organizations from what here? Frauds and errors. Once you understand this and of course appreciate the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that internal controls are basically those umbrellas, strong umbrellas that we put in place to ensure that our books of accounts are not being rained on. Which type of rain am I talking about here really? For those of you who understand, it cannot be the normal rain. This is rain of people who are not meaning well to our company, thieves. Right? So when I go to an organization, the very first thing that I will do is to assess the adequacy of this umbrella. And the umbrella's adequacy will always be there. It will always be adequate to really cover our books of accounts, which represents our organization adequately if the objectives here are met. And ladies and gentlemen, if these objectives are met and we've said that these internal controls are strong, then as an auditor, I will place reliance on them and do very little work when auditing. I'll be able, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, I will be able to do, for example, what we call small sampling. I don't have to be in the organization doing continuous audit. I can come, in this case here, at the end of the year when invited. Or if, for example, it's a SACCO that is paying interim dividends, I must also be there. Now, what if, for example, nimeenda ku-audit, kitu ya kwanza nikienda kuangalia umbrella, napata mtu ameweka, mzee kama mimi ameweka umbrella ya mtoto kama msichana wangu wa miaka 3. Kale ka umbrella ni mzee, hata kaezi kucover the entire body. So some parts of this body inanyeshewa nje. So straight away as an auditor, I will not place reliance on this kind of internal controls because this person is a madman. So when internal controls are not working, then I have to do a lot of work. I have to do what we call substantive tests. Tests, in this case here, of details. A lot of work. And remember, these tests of details, we normally call them R, A, E, O, U. So the first one is analytical what here? Analytical procedures. So analytical procedures, I'll ask you because you are a madman who does not want to put adequate umbrellas here to cover your organization. Give me like 5 years financial statements, and then I'll be able to analyze the ratios, the trends. I'll be able to discern, in this case here, the patterns. What is happening? If sales is growing and the gross profit is going down, then I know there is something you are hiding in the cost of sales. Analytical procedures. This A stands for inquiries and third-party confirmations, because I don't trust you. When you tell me that, hey, end of last year, my bank balance was 10 million, I'll tell you, no problem. Please give me the right to speak to your bank, because I have to do third-party confirmations, because you are not a person of integrity. Look at the kind of umbrella. At times, you get some of these organizations having, in this case here, big umbrellas, but full of holes. That's madness. If they're full of holes, I have to apply all this. Right. So I changed to AAA. Remember now the class of AFM is over. I'm trying basically to sell my subject here, why students should attend this thing tomorrow.